Joined here with Cheryl Lacey, author of Take Your Children, Take the Lead on Their Education. Cheryl Lacey, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Cheryl, you ask at the beginning of the book, who will raise my children? It's the first question you asked in your book, Your Children, Take the Lead on their Education. Now, plenty of people who write on education, especially here in Australia, like to spell out the problems. However, you're more interested in the solution. Parents, in your own words, need to take the lead. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's really quite logical, isn't it? Children are born to one biological male and one biological female. So whose responsibility does their education and, in fact, the raising of that child fall to? It's the people that actually brought them to life.
So your understanding of education is that it's the parents who've got to be at the front and center and back of their education. So what is the purposes of schools then?
Well, it's interesting because I've put it into a really simple context, and that is schools are places where an agreed curriculum is taught by capable teachers. And if we stay with that really simple sentence and unpack it, we actually really start to get to the nub of what the purpose of schools are. And we can actually unpack where some of the issues and the really difficult issues we're facing today have evolved. So schools are places where capable teachers teach an agreed curriculum.
Okay, so that's what the idea of the schools. And what's the role of the teacher?
Well, the role of the teacher is to actually support parents in delivering education for the children, for any child when they're students at school. They're not there to raise children. They're there to deliver on the curriculum that's been agreed to by the parents and the community at large.
So your book tells us of some key lessons from the classroom that parents should know. Do you want to share some of those lessons?
Look, there's so many lessons involved here, but essentially we need to have parents firmly at the centre of all decision making and ensure that we are supporting families. And when I say that, it's really important that we respect and appreciate that teachers also are parents, many of them. So they also have families that they're raising. So this whole notion of teacher versus parent or school versus school, family home is a nonsense, because essentially schools are a community of families that are coming together for educational purposes.
Now, in a perfect world, families are the perfect place to raise children. What about in sort of dysfunctional families? Doesn't the school have a role there to sort of give to the child what the parents can't give in the home?
It's interesting because that's essentially where I really started to work hard to understand our education system. If we're going to look at a system plus its place within all other portfolios in this country, in Australia, then understanding how schooling began here was really important. So I drilled down and looked at Victoria and how our school system evolved here. And then by and large, obviously, it affects Australia as well. But essentially, the purpose of schools initially was to ensure everybody had an equal opportunity for the freedoms that we espouse here in Australia. So wayward children, orphan children had the opportunity to get a fundamental education here in Victoria. And as I say, it spread across, and that was, of course, when it was a colony, but that spread right across the country. And in fact, public schools or government schools, they're very much centred around that model now around the world.
Right. So our school results are going backwards, as we all know. I mean, what lies behind this, and what can parents do to change it?
Right. One of our biggest dilemmas here in Australia is that once again, we don't have a curriculum that is specified. We talk about standards, so we're all reaching a particular agreed standard, and it seems to be the same because we actually don't measure effectively our education system, our students' results, and that's because we don't have a curriculum that we can actually measure. It keeps on getting adjusted all over the place, and there's no consistency. So parents really do need to have the confidence to know that they really are key to their children's education. And there's nothing wrong, as I say in the book, with demanding what is right for your child at school, conditional, of course, that, it's a conversation at large with the school community as well.
So that leads to my next question. How can parents take the lead?
Parents can take the lead by, first of all, obviously buying the book, but more importantly, as you're reading it, getting together with other parents, having conversations about what you know and don't know, and really getting a sense of what's going on at the school, all the way from school board down. I mean, every school has a school board or school council with parent representatives on it, which means that that's a voice that's a great place to start getting support from. And the more parents that converse with school board members who are parents, and then essentially across to the entire school board, change can happen, and very rapidly.
Terrific. So you're saying that this is a book for all parents?
Absolutely. This is a book for parents who want to take responsibility for their children's education, because that's exactly what their role is.
Terrific. So we've been joined by Cheryl Lacey, who's an enlightened educationist, creator of First Principles on Education. Cheryl, thank you for joining us this morning, and we look forward to reading your book.
Lovely. Thanks for that. Thanks, Anthony.